This video is brought to you by this remote. Probably solely responsible for about 10 pounds of weight. So yeah, there's that. These last 3 months, sitting at home watching TV. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Do, 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 do. Hey everybody, Pollywood here, and coming with you with kind of a impromptu update. It is just getting on 11:43 on Juneteenth, the 19th of June. And if you don't know what Juneteenth is, just Wikipedia it. To make it short without a long explanation, it's basically Emancipation Day down in the States where the slaves were ultimately freed. So in this time, in this climate, it is a very important day, I think, to recognize. And I know that many African Americans and just people down in the States have been honoring it today, and I think we'll obviously continue to remember and fight for equality for Black lives and people of color and people that are less fortunate. Anyways, the reason I'm doing this update is in 15 minutes, the clock ticks over to June 20th, 2020. This album came out June 20th, 2000. It's Deftones' White Pony, and I love the Deftones. I mean, some of the recent stuff I haven't been so much into, but when I was, I guess I would have been probably around early 20s, Deftones were big, and I remember this album. This album came out, I believe, '97, around the fur. Both are good. I got into Deftones on their first album, and I think this is the one that really kind of solidified my like for them. And at the time, the airwaves were kind of dominated by stuff like Korn and Limp Bizkit. And Deftones, from a listen, have similarities to those bands, but I think are inherently much better and have a much more versatile sound. They are one of the few new metal bands, if you want to call them that have kind of outlived that era and have put out increasingly experimental and progressive metal. This is the album, I think, that did it for them, because this is the one where it's among some of the songs on here are among the heaviest songs that they've ever done, and some of the songs on here are among some of the most kind of almost trip hop. Like Teenager on here is very much like a ballad with a break. And I know that there was a lot of tension going on in this album. The members of the band, particularly the lead singer Chino Moreno and the guitar player Steph Carpenter, really had differing styles about where to go with this album. And Chino wanted to incorporate more kind of new wave, more trip hop stuff like The Cure into the sound, and Steph wanted to make it more of a just heavier than heaven metal record, and both really work out on here. One of my favorite songs is Elite. It is definitely the heaviest song on here. It's got Chino screaming crazy on the verses and then into a vocoder chorus coda kind of deal, and just sounds very dystopian in a way. I really like Passenger, and it's got Maynard from Tool on it, and I'll explain why I like Passenger a little bit later as well. But overall, this album, I think, really proved to kind of the people that don't like nu metal that, hey, Deftones really have something worth apart from that sound. They were able to diversify their sound. It got them a lot of critical acclaim. Like I say, I think it's kept them going for so many years till now. I mean, they're still going strong. 20 years later, they've released 5 albums since then. So, yeah, I like it. I got to see them, I believe, I'm trying to think. I saw them on this tour, I believe. They were playing the Peony Forum, and it was me and my brother and a friend of mine, Amir, who wasn't with us at the show, but just we happened to run into at the show. And we were hanging out after the show, kind of in the parking lot by the tour buses, and of course the band came out and hung out with us, had a good time, and somewhere there's some pictures.
of me and my brother with different members of the band, one with Chino and one with Chi, the bass player, the original bass player, who is no longer with us. He tragically passed away in 2013. And fun and times was had by all. And then I saw them again. That was actually the second time I saw them. I saw them before on the Around the Fur tour, this one. The third time, and actually till to date, the last time I've seen them, it was at Somersault, which I believe came out, which was that summer of 2000. So it would have been at BC Place, and they were one of the headliners, along with Foo Fighters, Our Lady Peace, Smashing Pumpkins, Catherine Wheel, and they put on an amazing show. A Perfect Circle, I don't know if you know the group A Perfect Circle, were supposed to perform, and Maynard Keenan from Tool was also in A Perfect Circle, also appears on Passenger on this album. Perfect Circle pulled out, and Maynard was basically in Vancouver with no gig, and Deftones would never ever perform Passenger without Maynard. And I think they've done it maybe 3 or 4 times ever, and that was one of the times they did it. Maynard was hanging around and joined them on stage for that show, and so didn't get to see Perfect Circle, kind of disappointing, but did get to see Maynard perform Passenger with Deftones, so that's kind of a bit of a bonus. So there you go. Like this album, give it a listen if you like some good turn of the century metal, and yeah, take care. See you guys, have a wonderful time. You're awesome, and stay safe. Things are kind of spiking a little bit around the world, and it's just in these times that you just gotta watch your hands and limit your interactions and stay safe. Hollywood saying goodbye. Peace out.